Hey, as I've spoken about before, I have identified as asexual since October, and since then I've only really told the people that are kind of important and who I feel like should probably know about it. Pretty much everyone I have told have been really accepting and supportive, as I've mentioned before, but one person hasn't. This one person, I won't actually mention him by name because that's kind of like unfair and I don't really want to like name and shame. He's the only person that I've received any sort of kind of acephobia from. It didn't start out with me telling him I was asexual though. It kind of just started as a conversation about sexuality, since we were working together on a presentation for one of my units for my uni course, and the topic of the presentation was pirates' attitudes to sexuality, marriage and women. The whole conversation was on Facebook, and I still have the messages here on my phone, so I'm not going to read out the whole conversation because not all of the conversation is relevant to what I'm doing the video on, but I will read the sort of comments and the things that he said that are relevant, and I will give like a few comments throughout while I'm reading them out. Okay, so I've skipped past the first part of the conversation because that's not really relevant to what I'm talking about, but to a bit of context on this part, I said about how I went on to Google Images and typed in pirate sexuality to see if I can get a picture or something relevant to put onto the first slide of my part of the presentation. And I said about how I was greeted with the poster of a pirate-themed porn film, and the only reason I kind of knew that it was a porn film because the year before I had looked at sort of like pirate-themed films and things like that, and one of the sections on the sort of website was porn films, and I recognised the poster. And he said he doubts I doubt pirate is top 10. Haha, of course, did you not go on to and then watch this for research? So I said, not with my mother in the room, come on. He said, oh, fair enough, saving it for at night, haha. So I said, a lady never tells, because, I was playing along. He just goes, ah ha ha, naughty naughty. So I said, I wouldn't even know where to look if I did. He said, I do doubt everyone has some point has a little look. So I said, this is where it sort of like ties in, even sex repulsed folk. So he said, no such people, completely flat denying that sex repulsed people exist, which, well, at that point I was like, excuse me. So I said there are, I've spoken to some myself, which is kind of a lie, but I've I've read things, I've seen what people have been saying and how how sex repulsed people genuinely do exist and they genuinely do feel like that, so I obviously know they exist. So he said, no way, they lie then. I said, it is a thing, smiley face. And so he, again, denied it by saying defo not. I went, yeah, it's hard to believe that some people are repulsed by sex. He said, they may be repulsed, but I bet they still do it, at least some sort of sexual activity, which, again, doesn't really make much sense to me, because if you're sex repulsed, why would you, engage in sexual activity? It's like, you're disgusted by it, you're repulsed by it, you're turned off by it, why would you even want to engage in this kind of activity? I said, maybe to try and fit in, but not all the time, because they find it disgusting, sometimes nauseatingly so, which is true. He said, I doubt it, especially for a man. So I responded with, it's a thing, seriously, I ain't pulling your leg. I believe you, I just don't believe them. But if I'm saying that these people exist, but he's saying he believes me, but he doesn't believe them, which doesn't make any sense at all. Why not them? A man doesn't have like to have a little play with himself at the very least. Maybe not. I don't tend to peer in their windows like, hello there. Personally, I don't see how it's so hard to believe. And then he comes back with, ha ha ha, not into Blackbeard stuff then, because we were talking about Blackbeard before. Well, maybe, I can maybe believe it for a woman, but a man, nah. If you had a penis, you would understand. which is kind of sexist and insulting to me, really. But as me and my friend Kai like to say, we're really chill. So a lot of these kind of things, even if I'm insulted, I kind of just let it brush over me, if you know what I mean. I don't really like acting on these kind of things. So I said, that beard, nah, it doesn't do much for me, to be honest. Who said I don't? Yeah, it still jangles around all the time, but still. Haha, fair enough, ha ha ha, wow. Again, for a little bit of context on this part of the conversation, he was saying about, like, pirate porn and bringing that back up again. And he said how I was, like, digging myself a hole. Because I said, shut up, phone. I would say, is that even a thing? But this is the internet, hashtag Rule 34. And I know it is because of that poster. And I only know it's a porn film because I remember looking at pirate films, perfectly normal films, I might add. Yeah, they had things like, Pirates of the Caribbean, Treasure Island, things like that. And it was on the list, and I was like, no, bye. You just dig yourself a bigger hole each time, haha. Pirate films, haha, of course you were. Considering I was in the middle of a seminar when I was looking up these films, I didn't point that out, but I wasn't actually in a seminar at the time I was looking up these films, so I don't know. I mean, I was kind of just playing along with the joke, even if he was kind of at some point saying some quite insulting things, but hey. I have a habit of doing that, so my friends tell me. And I know it, but well, it's gone one and I'm tired and I can't be fucked with this paper, but I have no choice to press on, so shh. I mean, I'm not going to judge you, you can be into whatever you want, which kind of contradicts what he was saying before, but this is sort of like the main part of the conversation which I kind of wanted to talk about. Everyone has their own tastes and some people have none, so, smiley face. Everyone has some tastes, and apparently yours is pirates. No. Just no. Always back to this, Well, it never leaves you. Why not just accept that some people have no interest? That was me questioning him. Again, this is the main part of the conversation that I did actually want to talk about. So he says, because everyone does. And I just went, nah. He said 100%. I said 99% actually. He said, okay, 99.99999, but if you count that, 0.000001 and all the fetus in a womb at the moment. Nope, look it up. Approx 1% of the population is asexual, because I thought, I'm going to educate this guy, because clearly he's not educated enough, despite being in university, to know about this kind of stuff. I mean, so I thought, I'm going to try and educate him. Yeah, but they still have a desire to pleasure themselves, which in itself is an interest, which is not true. Not all asexuals masturbate, can I just point that one out? Not all the time, sometimes they have absolutely no desire whatsoever. Again, which is true. Yeah, but there are probably only 2 in the whole world, which is extremely insulting. Again, I kind of just let it, I didn't really want to cause an argument considering we had to do our presentation the next day, so I didn't really want to be on bad terms with him on that, although I will admit, like, the next day he didn't really speak to me much at all, and even the week after that he, like, didn't speak to me at all, and we haven't spoken since, and to be honest, I don't really care. So, he's not in my life anymore, well, he's not really in my life anymore, like, the only time I'll really see him now is at uni, and even then I probably won't talk to him ever again, which is fine by me. So in response to the only 2 people in the world, I said, no, it really isn't that hard to believe. Then again, you're hetero, so it is probably hard to believe. I thought I'll get my own insult in there while I'm at it. So he said, whoa, that is slander. So I asked, how so? And he said, because I'm a hetero. He is, so, you know. Yeah, can be hard for allosexuals to wrap their heads around. Nothing to worry about. Because I was like, well, you've been insulting asexuals and sex-repulsed people this whole time. You have, like, no real right to really be insulted at this point in time. This is the big part. He goes, haha, saying it like you're asexual. This part is the big part. It's been building up to this. This is the my favourite part. So I ask, so what if I was? So he says, because you're not. Granted, by this point in time, he didn't know, but I still thought that it was kind of like, just that question, I was just like, well, I'm going to try and like subtly imply it. So I said, and you'd know that because he said, I know all. If he knew all, he would know everything that he's been saying up until this point has been complete and utter, mind my language, bullshit. If I had the bullshit button from the last leg, I would be pressing that. YouTube, it is probably on there. I said, but you must have a reason. Like, come on, try me, I'm curious. What can I say? It just comes to me. Interesting. Legit 100%. Interesting. Well, sorry to disappoint you, smiley face. What do you mean disappoint me? 'Cause you're wrong. That's basically just me saying, hello, I'm here, I'm asexual, fuck you, everything you've said until this point is completely and utter bullshit, bye-bye, kind of thing. So he, again, flatly, outright, completely shuts me down by going, no, I'm not, you're not asexual. How would you know this? Fuck off. My language. So I asked, who are you to judge what I am or aren't? Like, no offence or anything, but... and just kind of left it kind of there. This is the... oh, I don't... seriously. Okay, calm down, I'm only joking. At that point I was like, excuse me, you've been really insulting up until this point, how can you say that you're joking? So I thought, I'm gonna shut this down. I said, no offence or anything, but people can get pretty sensitive about it, so watch it next time. Me, I don't need someone's validation. I know what I am. I'm happy with it. So, which is true. I don't need someone's validation for it. I don't need anyone's validation for anything, really. I know what I am. I know who I am. I do the things I do because I enjoy it. I don't need validation for it. I draw, I write, I play video games, I read, and I don't need someone to reaffirm me and validate what I do. And, like, with my drawing and my writing, I don't need to share it with people to keep doing it. Like, I know some people who feel like they have to share it with people and get praise for it to keep going on, to see the point in it. But I don't. It's why? Why do you need that? Like, do it because you enjoy it, not because you need validation for it. But back to the point. His response to that was, okay, yeah, good for you. I didn't mean anything by it generally. Which, again, seems like a cop-out. It's like he's trying to completely backtrack everything he said until that point. So I said, sometimes it can be hard to tell with some people, to be honest. And so he just said, yeah, that's true. And yeah, and that was basically pretty much it for the whole conversation. So yeah, as you can tell, this person isn't entirely the most well-informed person out there, and I actually had quite a decent opinion of him until this point. I actually thought, yeah, we could be friends. We could be, like, you know, we spent about 5 hours in the library that day, working on this presentation. You know, reading, sharing notes, and sort of just kind of saying, oh, what we're gonna do, and you know, we had quite a few laughs. I thought, yeah, he's okay, and then this happened. Completely changed my opinion of him. And, like, I can't really blame him for, you know, being ignorant like that, but at the same time, to completely outright flatly deny it and say that these people don't exist, and to say some of the frankly quite insulting comments that he did give, as well as completely shutting me down when I tell him that I am asexual. It's kind of reasons like that, like why people don't want to come out, because they're scared of what people will say and how people will shut them down, or how people might shut them down. And I think that's why I was a bit worried with some people, because I was sort of like worried with their reaction. But by this point, I don't really care. Like I said before, I don't really need people's validation for this. I know who I am. I know what I am. So, you know, I'm gonna wear this shirt with pride. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna wear it with pride, and I'm just gonna, you know, be me. Fuck the haters. I actually showed my cousin and 2 of my friends a few extracts from that conversation, and let's just point out that they were not impressed, actually. My cousin is the same as me, she is also aromantic asexual, and she's had a few experiences before, not so much like overtly like sort of ace or arophobia, but you know, a whole, oh, you'll find someone, and trying to tell you who you are and things like that. But this guy, as I've mentioned, he completely changed his opinion, my opinion of him, just through this interaction, and I'm glad that I probably won't ever have to talk to him again, and if I do, we'll probably keep it to a minimum, or I'll try to keep it to a minimum. Because, let's be honest, he's narrow-minded and he's ignorant. And, as my Tumblr blog is called, some of you might have seen it, it's called Ignorance is Not Bliss. Because it's not. It's just rude, really. And, like I've said before, it's his problem. He's gonna go through life being ignorant like this. So, it's not really my problem. One day, hopefully he'll realise the mistake he's made, or how ignorant he was, and I doubt I'll get an apology, but it'll be nice to hope that I might get one day. Here's to hoping, I guess. But thank you for watching. Give this video a like, and maybe comment and subscribe if you do want to do so. My link for the Tumblr is in the description, like it always is. Bye bye!